Hi, welcome to Alaskan in the Philippines, currently in Thailand. Today I thought I'd tell you all about the time I made my first trip to Bangkok. I'd met a girl online before I left and she was going to show me around. I agreed to pay her and everything. So she was all game for that. And so it was my first time. I just got a passport that fall and I wanted to try it out, see if I could actually go alone overseas by myself. It's a real scary thing to do that. You guys are going to figure that out. But anyway, when I did, I went over there and she did come out to my hotel and she showed me around. We did quite a bit of stuff. She brought me to different places, different malls. She brought me to Nana Plaza. One Friday we went out down in the town, a cab ride all the way through Bangkok. She brought me out, we went out and ate duck in one of those trikes, these pimped out trikes they have in Bangkok. They drove around in one of them. She had a friend that drove one of those, so he called her over and he showed us around, brought us around anyway, to eat duck at some roadside stand in Bangkok. They had little tables set up. It was really good. I loved the duck. But anyway, we had dinner, and where else she bring me? She brought me to Nana Plaza. She brought me to, what's that? Road, Quezon Road in Bangkok too. We went there one day. We went shopping. I got some clothes and shorts there, but that was during the day. It was pretty neat too. And then, but anyway, on my last day, I only stayed a week. It was just a trial run, basically, for me to see if I could make a trip to another country. It was my first time doing it all alone, from the bush, too, in Alaska. I had to get to Anchorage, and then I had to get from Anchorage to Seattle, and that's where the real flight started, was Seattle. And I'd never flown, never used a passport. And I've flown a lot in Alaska, a very lot, but I never did an overseas trip, so that was going to be something interesting. And I had to go through Seattle airport, and that was kind of scary. But anyway, I had the trip and everything. And on the last day, she showed up every day. And then on the last day, she says, we can eat at my house if you want. She never brought me to her house, and I don't blame her. She don't know me, I just met a guy online, don't bring me home. And she had a business. She would make bracelets, bangles, the cheap ones, they're tied with string, they wrap them and stuff. And she showed me her fingers were worn with blisters from tying strings for making these bracelets. She just made you'd see whole piles of mass-produced them. She had her and another friend and her other cab driver friend, young guy. She was about 35. She's really beautiful, really pretty girl, real long brown hair. She was only about 4'9" though, really tiny, even maybe smaller than that. She had feet about this big, really tiny thing. Really pretty though, just very, very beautiful girl. She spoke pretty good English, broken of course, but better than most Thais. So we went out. Actually, she brought me out to eat with her friends a couple of times. We went to a beer garden one night. We had beer and listened to live music one night with her friends. That was cool. And then we went and ate at the mall. They have the Thais, they all cook on these like hubcap things. It's a big thing here. When they go out to eat, they don't usually just order restaurant cooked food. They'll order this pot with coal under the bottom, and they'll cook their shrimp and meats, different meats. They'll bring them meats and vegetables, and they'll cook right at their table. It's very, very common here, but we did that in there too. We just brought out all kinds of prawns and beef and everything, stripped, cut real thin so it cooks real quick, and you cook on that hubcap thing. So me and her friends did that one day too. And her friends didn't speak a lick of English, so it was kind of awkward. I was there with her friends, and I had nobody to talk to, and they were talking all the time, But she would talk to me once in a while, see what I was doing, or if I wanted more of this. But it was all cooked and fed me like a king, Of course, I paid the bill, everything, That was all right. But anyway, on the last day when I was there, she asked me, would you like to come eat at my house? And I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And she lived in an apartment, looked like a cheap one. It's the first time I've ever been in a Thai apartment or a house, anything other than, I was staying in the Anatara, and that was a 4-star hotel. It was a really beautiful, luxurious room. Everything was nice. real beautiful hotel right on the Chao Phraya River. It was really beautiful. They actually had catfish there. You could feed them. The big Mekong catfish would boil up. You'd throw a handful of pellets. The Buddhists feed the animals. It brings you good karma. So they had a bucket of pellets and a scoop. You could scoop and feed them. Man, these big 60-pound Mekong catfish come up and big, man. They were just swarming the fish pellets when you throw them in. I was impressed. I'd love to throw a hook in there. But the water was just smelly, filthy. You couldn't eat one, of course. And I've ate those before. I bought them before, the ones in Vietnam, and they're kind of a mushy fish. I bought them in Philippines. They had them frozen. I tried them. I didn't like. I've ate them here too. They sell them in one of the all-you-can-eat buffets. They have them too. I didn't really. They're mushy. They're okay, but I don't care for them. But anyway, she brought me home, asked me if I wanted to. So on the last day before my flight, I was actually leaving that day. And that morning, she brought me over to her house, small condo unit. I bet it was cheap. It had water out on the patio, though. I remember that. It was kind of nice. She had a faucet out there. She was doing dishes out on her patio because they had a tap faucet out there. And it was a small Thai condo, and her buddy was there. Her girlfriend was there that makes the bangles and stuff with her, the jewelry. And her friend, the taxi driver, was there that time. Neither of those two spoke English. I remember the taxi driver guy, he was missing a toe. I figured I didn't ask him how. He must have motorcycle, I imagine. Got it snagged or hit when he was riding by or something. But yeah, he was missing a toe. It healed up, of course. But she was cooking, and she broke out that big wooden, they have a big wooden, I don't know what you call it, like a hollow tube it's made of wood, and then a big plunger of wood to smash a mortar, I guess, a mortar. And they throw garlics and scallions and onions and chilies and I don't know what other kind of fish paste or whatever, shrimp paste, usually like bagung sort of thing. And they mash that. He was there mashing that up. I had pictures of all this, but it was on my old phone, and that phone crapped out on me. But yeah, I had pictures of him doing that. I probably had him on Photo Bucket, but that was too, I don't know. But yeah, he was pounding them, and she was cooking, and they added that ground up paste to what he ground up to the soup she was making. Her gas ran out halfway through, so she was kind of screwed out of that. She was kind of embarrassed, but she knew had good friends there, so she brought it to the neighbors to finish cooking it. So she cooked it. I didn't know, I didn't pay attention what she was cooking, but when she got back, then they all sat down on the table. She put it on the floor. You know, Thais eat on the floor, mostly. They'll eat in tables too, but a lot of them, a lot of at home, they're eating right on the floor. And she did too. We all just sat down on the floor, me, her, and her friend. Oh, and I remember she stopped on the way and bought these special noodles. She said these are the only kind of noodles she'll buy or something. There's some kind of real special. They're real thick, like they were good rubbery. They were fresh noodles. They weren't dried or anything. So you buy them fresh. And anyway, I forget, some kind of egg noodle. They were good though too. And then it was just simply them egg noodles with the broth that she made with the chops, ground up spices, and chicken feet. She threw in chicken feet, a whole bunch of chicken feet. And her friends were there eating, and they were taking, she was serving everybody. She served everybody noodles, and I seen them, she served them the noodles, and she served me the noodles and the chicken feet, and her the noodles and the chicken feet, boiled in this chicken feet soup. And I was like, oh, okay, because in Alaska, I eat the geese feet. You know, we catch geese, and swan feet are really good. We eat those. There's a lot of meat in the bottoms of them. You just peel the skin right off and eat them too. And these weren't peeled either. So these are, I thought, chicken feet, yeah, that's great, man. I sat and I was chewing them up, eating them. And I looked over, and her friends and her cab driver friend and her other friend that works with her, they weren't eating chicken feet, they were just eating the noodles. And I asked her, I said, how come they're not eating chicken feet? She said, they don't like them. I said, oh, really? But anyway, that was kind of strange. I thought she served some kind of a weird dish for them, but me and her ate them, and I was gonna even go some more, and she served me. She didn't want me to eat too many because she was gonna give some to the neighbor for letting them finish cooking on their stove because her gas ran out. So I ate them full of noodles and chicken feet before I got on the plane to take off, and it was spicy too. You know, the Thais, everything they eat is spicy. I'm getting used to the spicy food eating here now. I eat the Thai food. They'll ask you if you want spicy or not spicy. Sometimes if they see you're a foreigner, they'll usually ask if you order spicy crispy pork, they'll ask you, do you want it spicy? And I always say no, not too spicy, and it's always still very spicy. So you're not getting out of it. Everything here is spicy, but yeah, if you order it not too spicy, you might get it a little less spicy, but it's still going to be pretty hot. Yeah, be careful. You don't want to eat one of them chilies. You got to kind of pick through your food and see what you're eating before you eat it, because one of them chilies will light you up. But that's what that dinner consists of, was the noodles, the egg noodles. The noodles are really good, and in the broth it was real good, and I chowed right down on those chicken feet. I thought it was great food coming from the bush in Alaska. I eat a lot of strange foods in Alaska. I mean, some really fish heads, berry stunk fish heads, seal, I ate whale, everything, man. Things dried, all kinds of muskrats, fish dried whole. So yeah, we eat a lot of crazy stuff. So that was no big deal to me, but I was surprised her friends wouldn't eat any of it. Those are some of the same friends we went out and they ate shrimp and everything out at dinner too. So they had a good dinner. But she sent me off with a good dinner, I thought. And, from Bangkok, her and her the driver that was bringing me out to the airport. I paid him to bring me out, hired him. And he brought me back out to the airport, and I left. And I never did see her again. We stayed in contact for a while, but then I figured I wasn't going back. And that May, that was in December. That was in like 2016, I think, 2016 or 2017. So quite a few, 7-8 years ago. And that spring, that was in December. And in that May, I went to Philippines for the first time. Then I realized I probably should check the Philippines because of the English speaking, just like you guys are all thinking, yeah, the English speaking. They all speak English there. That's what I thought too. And they kind of do, but they kind of don't too. So it's best of both and the worst of both. But yeah. But anyway, that was my dinner in Thailand when the girl brought me home for dinner. It was a cool experience. And I remember a little girl was yelling hi, and she was yelling in Thai, some little girl, and I didn't know what she was saying as we were walking away. And she goes, oh, that little girl's trying to say hi to you. And I was like, oh, yeah. And she was yelling in Thai. I didn't know what she was saying. Oh, hi, how you doing? So a little Thai girl. That was in an area where the Thais were living. That was a Thai apartment complex. There wasn't a lot of foreigners in there. So it was kind of a novelty of her to see a foreigner. I think that's why, but she was really hollering to say hello to me, and so I did. But yeah, it was a pretty cool deal. She was a friendly girl. She did a good job showing me around. She asked me if I wanted to see the temples, but I didn't know what the big deal was with the temples. You know, I didn't want to go to church or something like that. I didn't realize what a temple was in Thailand. I wished I would have took her up on it. But I was there a short time and I was actually jet lagged for the week that I was there. You know, it's quite a deal to get from the bush of Alaska to anywhere in Asia. It takes almost 4 days, really, for me. It took 4 days to travel here. It always does, at least 4 days, sometimes longer. So yeah, it's a big, long trip to go, even though it's closer than the U.S. But I have to fly down to the U.S. and then fly back up over Alaska and then go down the other side of the world. So it's a long trip for me. But anyway, that was my dinner date in Thailand with a Thai lady. And who knows, I'll maybe bump into her someday again. I doubt it. Bangkok's a pretty big city, and I don't think she'd even recognize me. But yeah, she was about 35 at the time. Very good looking woman. Introduced me to her friends that didn't speak English. Brought me out for drinks at a beer garden, listened to live Thai music. That was a nice night. All Thai people there, and that was another thing. It wasn't a bunch of tourists. So she showed me around where the tourists weren't. And then the one night she did say, we're gonna go where there's a lot of foreigners. And I go, oh yeah? And she goes, yeah. And that time she brought me down to Nana Plaza, and we just walked through it, and I got to see it. I didn't know where we were. She didn't tell me that's where, but I just started recognizing it from the YouTube videos, and then I saw the big Nana Plaza thing. I was like, wow, she brought me here. But we walked up and had drinks at the Hillary 2, I think what it was. And it was a nice bar. We just had a couple of drinks there, and then got back drove back home. was a long cab ride through Bangkok to get back out to that Anatar hotel. Took about an hour, and I seen the biggest traffic jam of my entire life. We were going over an overpass, and you could see under some road in Bangkok, man, as far as the eye could see at night, just lights of a hugest traffic jam I ever saw. But anyway, that was cool. But anyway, that was a good trip, my first trip out of the country, and it gave me the itch that I never quite got rid of. So keep that in mind. Once you go once, you're not gonna be happy at home. You're gonna have to do something. Do it once a year is what I tried to do, and twice if I could. But anyway, that's my dinner date in Bangkok. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.